Okay, here's what you need to get started making a simple slide tessellation. You need some tape, scissors, pencil and eraser, and then note cards that are 3 inches in size. And I've got a little paper clip to keep everything together when I'm ready to stop. My note cards are exactly 3 inches square. You need to work with a square to begin. So you're going to turn this square into a tessellation by drawing a shape that starts at the top corner, the top left-hand corner, goes all the way into the note card, and then ends itself at the bottom left-hand corner. You don't need to draw anything like detail-wise, just the outline of a shape. I just picked a totally random curvy line that goes deep into that square, starting and stopping exactly where I need it to be. Grab your scissors and cut out your shape. Try to stay as close to your pencil line as you possibly can. Notice that I turn my note card more than I turn my scissors because that's the easier way for me to cut out that shape on one single line. Turn and cut. When you're done cutting, don't throw out that scrap paper that's left over. That's part of your tessellation, and it's very important that you don't lose it. Line your shape back up so that you can see how it fits exactly into the note card like it was before you cut it. Then, to make the tessellation, you're going to pull out your shape and you're going to slide it over to the other side, the exact opposite side. When you've got it lined up just exactly right, you'll tape it together. Let me show you again. The shape you drew and cut out fits in perfectly like a puzzle. You slide it out. Don't flip it, turn it, twist it, or anything like that. Just slide it over and then tape it precisely on the other side. Since I did such a random shape, I like to kind of turn over my random shape and look at my tessellation and look at the whole thing and kind of decide if it looks like anything specific, like a guy holding up his hands or some kind of animal, or it could always just be a monster too. This time though, I want to show you what it's like if I am going to plan a specific animal or something I want to create. So I'm going to do, I think, like a really silly frog head, just the head of the frog. So I'm going to start at one corner. I'm going to give him 2 big, super goofy froggy eyes, and then I'm going to end at the corner. Nice and big from one corner to the other. No details yet, no funny little characteristics, just the shape of the creature is fine. In this case, my funny frog. Or maybe it'll be a hamster. I don't know. We'll see. All right, same thing. You got to cut out the whole shape in one piece, and then you're going to repeat that same process. Just fit it together like a puzzle and slide it over to the other side and tape it. Okay, so I've got frog shape and weird shape. So I'm going to start with weird shape. You definitely want to practice your tessellation on a piece of practice paper first. So line up your stencil, your tessellation on the paper, hold it in one place, and trace all the way around the tessellation. This first time you trace, you have to do the entire piece all the way around, inside and out. It's kind of tricky to get that inside part, but you can do it. You just get all the way around, all the way through, hold it in one place. It's tricky, but you got it. Then slide it over, and it fits in perfectly with no gaps in between. Line it up exactly where it was. Okay, I'm already starting to kind of see some things in my tessellation. Like, it kind of looks like a flying Halloween ghost or something, like swooshing off to the right. Or it kind of looks like a dog barking too. That's kind of cool. The most fun thing I think to do with these shapes that you make that are totally random, not on purpose, not intentionally anything, if you can't quite see a specific creature, you can always make it a monster. Just plop some googly eyes on that shape and it'll be like a really cool creature. After a lot of practice and planning, you can begin to do your final tessellation drawing on real drawing paper. I'm using a larger square paper, a 9-inch square paper, and this time I think I want to use my frog tessellation. I'm going to turn it vertically up and down so it looks like the frogs are like kind of a group or an audience of silly frogs. All right, I turned it to the side with lines so that you can see the tessellation on the white paper. I know it's tricky. Line up the tessellation at the bottom corner of your drawing paper and then begin to trace around the entire tessellation just like you practiced, slowly and carefully. Do not let the tessellation slide around on you. Hold it in place and don't forget to trace that inside shape also. It's very important when you do it for the first time in each row. All right, there's my first tracing. So now I just have to slide my tessellation up, fit it on perfectly right where it belongs, no gaps in between, and then trace around the tessellation again. This time I don't have to do the inside because it's been traced already. Now this is important, this little last part up here, there's part of my tessellation needs to get traced to fill in what's above the top frog, which would be another frog, obviously. But this time I just have to trace that one little line to make my froggy on the top. All right, so next row, you want to line it up so that your tessellation is exactly in a row with the others. Hold it very steady and trace around. You're going to fill up your entire paper, lining up your tessellation so there's no gaps in between. Next, just trace all of your pencil lines with a nice black permanent marker. Okay, this is my second favorite part. Use your permanent marker to give your tessellation some details. So whether it's a frog or a hamster, a rabbit, or even just one of those goofy monsters that you made up along the way, give each one its own personality, its own face. They could be pretty similar, they could be kind of weirdly different each time. This is where you really get to let your creative side shine by coming up with something unique for each of the characters. Yay, it's time to color. I've got markers and crayons because I find a combination of the two really is best for my artwork, and it gives you a lot of variation and options for colors, patterns, and textures. So color in each little creature or character one by one. I'm gonna start with just a traditional green frog, but I would really love to see some really cool different characteristics in my tessellation artwork. I think it just makes it more interesting to do and more interesting to look at.